Hello and welcome to another Imperator Invictus Dev Diary video. Again, working through the backlog. This is the one from the 6th of December, and today we're going to be talking about Dev Diary number 30, open source, the Pan-Ionian League, and Scythian updates. So, open source, interesting. So, last time we talked about Dev Diary, which was hopefully yesterday, depending on how long I take to get these videos out. Hopefully yesterday. We're talking about the introduction of the Pax Romana, where a bunch of mods kind of banded together to make a new exclusive club. Ain't so exclusive when you go open source. So let's see how they reconcile this one. Today we're talking about some changes to the Scythian tree, new upcoming formal, but first and foremost, special announcement. As the mod is now at a point we can consider it polished and of a quality we deem sufficient, I have decided to make the mod open source, aka everyone gets access to the GitHub link. Interesting, alright. You can experiment with mod features long before they come out, but we don't provide any support for the dev version. If you're a bit tech savvy, you can learn how to set up a GitHub and play for yourself. Dev branch is the most important branch we work on, as it's basically the running build. Some small advice: you can't have both the dev version and the workshop mod at the same time. Right, but you can have them both in your list. Just don't. You can have them both in your launcher. You just can't have them both enabled at the same time, which is kind of obvious. At least I would assume that would be obvious, you know. The Discord includes a working .mod file for everyone, so you can see that there as well. For a lot of people, this decision won't change much, but for those of you who don't like waiting for official updates, you can now just set up the dev build. This is actually it is pretty good. A lot of the times that I have been wanting to play a certain thing that I've seen in a dev diary, I've held off because it ain't in the public version and can't be asked going through the bother of like asking, oh, can I have a working dev version? But you know, GitHub's pretty easy to use. So yeah, if I see they've added some, if they've added a mission tree, say for the Galatian formable, then I'd be like, oh, I'll just grab the Git now and play it because I really want to play that. Something like that could be cool. Yeah, I wouldn't call that open source. Right? Well, it kind of is, but open. When you download the mod from the workshop, you can, from there, see everything, tinker with anything. So, like, the mod itself is already open source. I would call this more dev branch availability, something like that. Would probably be more applicable of a term to make this announcement with, in my opinion. But yeah, you can now play the dev branch. That's kind of cool. Sure, why not? Hope it provides more transparency as to the development process and status. Also, just join the Discord and you can see more about the transparency there. Be easier. So, on to Scythia. And, of course, in the background, I do have the Scythian artwork by... I forgot his name. I'm going to check it now because I am bad. What's his name again? Because the art is really cool. Aquazar. Apologies, Aquazar. Yes, I got the art of the Scythians from Aquazar because it's gorgeous and I love it. So, nestled within, actually, firstly, Salvete, Omega Corps, Oliver Kranz, and Hannibal the Cannibal spent time developing the final mission components of the first Scythia mission. When Invictus 1.1 dropped, there simply wasn't enough time left to finish scripting the event chains for 2 of the mission tasks. Rather than holding the entire mission back, we released the mission with some dummy placeholder events, with the understanding that we'd quickly patch them in when we had the time. Happy to say that we have accomplished that goal, and the event chain for the Scythian games are up and running. Let's dive into the mission to talk a little bit about the specifics. It's good. The Scythians got, I think, 2 dev diaries talking about them, and then when the update dropped, it wasn't in, which I think kind of bummed out some people that were looking forward to it. But now that they've got it all working properly and nice and it's in, that's great. Great news. Nestled within our Stance on the Greeks mission, available to Scythia, are 2 mission tasks I'll be discussing today. So, it is the Targetoan Games and hold the Euxinos Games. Alright, okay, interesting. On the Hellenizing branch of the mission, the task Euxinos Games refers to the desire for our Greek-loving Scythians to earn the respect of the Greek world by hosting an Olympic-style series of games. This mission task will invite athletes from the wider Greek world to compete in games to determine a champion. In order to complete this task, the player will be required to build up the infrastructure in a randomly selected territory necessary to host competitors. As we steeped ourselves in old history of the mission, earning admission to actual Olympics seemed too far-fetched for our aspiring Scythians without an in-between step. It made sense to us then that the Scythians hosting their own set of games would earn legitimacy for themselves while offering an exotic experience to the established Greeks, potentially warming relations between the two worlds. That's kind of cool. I like it. And there's a bunch of conditions that you need to do. Gold, a city with a forum and a great temple, civilization, it needs to import wine, naturally. It needs to produce grain as well. Okay, those are decent enough. That's doable, that's possible. So a few events. If you would like to read the events, feel free to pause. I'm not going to read them because I like playing and seeing the events happen as they come up, but if you want, feel free to pause the video so you can read some of these. But I'm sure it will be a splendid event. On the opposite branch, following the traditional path, the task The Targetoan Games refers to a uniquely Scythian or step-style series of games. Like the Euxinos Games, the player will be prompted to develop the infrastructure of a random territory in order to host the athletes selected from a pool of countries with the Scythian culture group, so Saka, Iazgis, Eorzea, etc. I worry that this will have to be done early as a mission, because you're probably going to be conquering all of these. While we do not have direct evidence that the Royal Scythians of the Black Sea held games like this, nor is there evidence that these games were directly dedicated to the heptatic god even, Targeteus, there's scattered references to friendly competition between the Scythian tribes, which involved people from all over the Eurasian steppe. These games would have included wrestling bouts, drinking contests, hare hunts, archery, and horseback races. It's highly likely that the kokburu were played by the steppe peoples at this time, as they still do today. It's a traditional horse game. Cool, okay. Players try to maneuver with a goat's carcass. Nice, fair enough. In Invictus, the mission task will send invitations to other Scythian culture tags, have their athletes compete in games, and crown a champion similar to the Olympics, earning their nation great renown and prestige. As a fun side note, since Scythian culture tags all or nearly all have gender equality enacted, this task will have a very good chance of producing female athletes and even champions. Awesome. What I will say is, it shouldn't be just for tags, right? It should send invitations to Scythian culture governors, so that if you conquer all of Scythian culture, which is remarkably easy to do, you're still going to be able to hold these games. It's like, oh, we are now the only country of Scythian culture, therefore we will stop doing the games that are specifically for Scythian culture. You know what I mean? It's kind of awkward that way. Like, if there is a one world government eventually in the world somewhere, in the future, we're not going to stop hosting the Olympics. Even though it is like, oh, you've got the flag of your country. Even if there are no countries, we still hold the games. They were just, oh, this is the flag of your state or the flag of your region, something like that, So it should be like governorships, maybe. But yeah, that would be my suggestion. So 200 gold, a marketplace and a granary is needed in a city. You need to produce steppe horses or import the steppe horses, and it needs to have livestock or import the livestock. Lovely. And we've got the Targetoan Games event there. If you would like to read it, feel free to pause. But yeah, love it. Fantastic stuff. And this time, Tarmawerni. Cool. Lovely. So, Scythian Roadmap. Before moving on to newer, more concrete content, we want to quickly share our overall plans for Scythia. We've alluded to this in previous dev diaries, but we're comfortable teasing some additional information. If all goes well, we plan on creating another 4 missions for Scythia. The missions will be grouped based on 2 paths established by the first mission, our stance. 2 future missions will follow a historic retelling of Scythian history. Although in real life the royal Scythians continued to lose prominence and territory to their neighbouring steppe tribes over time, they're still able to engage in a number of adventures that we hope to emulate in our missions. This will include dealing with other steppe tribes, travelling through the Caucasus Mountains, and engaging in a bit of diplomacy with Pontus and Armenia. The missions will culminate in recreating an earlier Scythian achievement by fighting their way through the Levant and holding some Ptolemaic Egyptian land hostage, as they did prior to the game's start date. It's a very ambitious path that will conclude with Scythia playing a major role on the world stage rather than being tucked away on the northern bank of the Black Sea. Beautiful. The other two missions will be aimed at furthering the alt history path of Hellenization. This will include heading west, establishing a legitimized bloodline for the new monarchy, prying away the Greek colonies from the Diadochi, and ultimately confronting one or possibly two Diadochi in order to establish a capital in Greece, to solidify the newly established identity. All the future plans are very early stages of development. Many plans are still in flux, and we're keen on any feedback or ideas from the community. Lovely. I would assume the best place to do that would be to go into their Discord, which will have a link in the description below if you would like to go over there and talk to the Scythian people. And I will remind you who they are. Oliver Kranz, I remember, was one of them. I forget the other two. We'll get there in just a moment. Omega Corps, Oliver Kranz, and Hannibal the Cannibal. Lovely stuff. So yeah, go talk to them about stuff. So first, well, sorry, not first of all, last of all, but not least of all, last but not least, that's the term. Whatever. The Pan-Ionian League. Nice. Additionally, I've also been working on a new formable tag that can be created by national decision, forming the Pan-Ionian League. That's not going to be easy to pronounce. I keep wanting to say Pannonian, because you know Pannonia, right? But it's Pan-Ionian League. Eligible to any country who has Ionian, Aeolian, or Aegean primary culture, this decision will require the player to unify several important coastal Asian cities, either through conquest or vassalage. The required cities largely refer to the historical Ionian League that rebelled against the Achaemenid Persian Empire back in the 500s BCE. One of my favourite parts of Paradox games are the in-between steps, the goals and achievements made along the way to performing a higher, more ultimate function. Tier 2 formables offer a nice early goal that players can work towards while working to achieve a higher goal. I also felt there was a lack of content for the Greek states. Yeah, sure. On the coast of Asia, so creating a goal for those tags, Ionia, Kos, Miletus, etc., seemed like the obvious inclusion. Miletus aren't they the ones that end up forming Pontus, the Mithridatic Kingdom? I'm not sure there's a lack of content for them, but you know, having more is great. You need to have the various territories, and it's tier 2. Get some province investments naturally. Emergent capital, that's just normal. I wonder what its ideas are. Not ideas, but it's heritage. Does it get a new heritage? I don't think it does, actually. Once formed, the decision generates some pops in your capital, grants some free province investments, and gives claims on every state that has a coastline in the Asia region. This will hopefully serve as either as a springboard to bigger and better tags, such as the Hellenic League, or give some nice, logical borders for those aiming to play a tall-style naval game. Once formed, the players will still be able to compete in the generic Greek mission tree available to Greek tags in the Aegean. As most of the eligible tags that can take this decision begin the game as a vassal or tributary of one of the Diadochi, success is by no means guaranteed. We don't imagine the AI may ever successfully take this decision, but players who are looking for a bit of a challenge sandwiched between nearly all of the Diadochi will enjoy creating this formable. Special shout out to our artist Retcon Crisis, who helped put the flag together based on some obscure Ionian coinage I was able to look up. That's a pretty cool flag. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And there it is. Nice map color as well. I quite like it. It might clash with Rome once Rome gets around there, but other than that, yeah, it's pretty cool. So that is another Dev Diary down. And another good one. Scythia is a fun place to play in, so it's good that they have gotten some content. You're able to play the dev version now, which is awesome. Again, there's a lot of paradox going on here, where that's a term I coined for I'm too excited to play the new shit to enjoy playing the current shit. Generally, when Paradox have announced a DLC coming out and the Dev Diaries are coming out, and you're like, oh, this new shiny shit looks amazing. So I have no interest in playing the current stuff, you know? That's what I feel quite frequently with Imperator Invictus. I'm sure other people do too. But now that's no longer a problem, because if the new shiny shit is announced, it's in the dev version, so you can go play it there. Yeah, Pan-Ionian League looks cool, Scythians looks cool, and that just it's cool dev diary. It's good stuff. But yeah, again, as per usual, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I am always interested to hear it and read it. 17th apology for these videos coming out very late, especially to the Imperator Invictus team. You guys deserve better, and I'm sorry that it's, yeah, mouth surgery sucks. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow with another Imperator Invictus Dev Diary. Bye-bye.